What's up, guys? Welcome back to another live. I appreciate y'all checking in. If you're stopping by my channel for the first time, please consider subscribing. Please share the videos, share the live, and certainly give me that big old thumbs up if you don't mind. That really helps me out with the YouTube algorithm. Also, keep in mind, guys, I do not invest money for my subscribers. So down in the comment section, you may see some spam and scammers down there impersonating me. So please be careful. Don't get yourself scammed. Don't ever contact somebody by WhatsApp when they're approaching you from the comment section of YouTube. So be careful there. Also, do me a big favor. I'm trying to make sure I remind everybody to hit that notification bell so that you're notified every time I upload a new video on YouTube. Again, that will help me tremendously if you could do me that small favor. If you want 6 free stocks from Webull, click on that link down in the description box. Open up your new Webull account. They're going to give you 6 free stocks. Could be valued all the way up to $12,600. So certainly anytime during the live or after the live stream, please make sure you go down there. If you're interested in investing using the Webull app, click on my link, open up that new account today, go get that free stock, go get that free money. And in today's live, obviously, you know, I'm going to be answering some questions, but I also wanted to talk a little bit about, you know, taking yourself from zero to everything you've ever wanted financially. And I know a little something about that, guys, because I'm a living example of that, right? At 26 years old, I had a zero net worth, and I had dreams of creating a financial situation for myself that at some point I could just do the things that I really wanted to do with my life and not have to worry about where I was going to get the money to take care of my lifestyle. So at 26, I just started on that journey, and I started that journey of investing in the big three. You guys know I talk about that a lot, but having no money, and now, you know, fast forward 20 years later, having all the money I know what to do with, is, in my opinion, one of the greatest things I've done from a financial standpoint. And again, guys, for me, it was all about figuring out where I wanted to end up. So at 26, I had to think ahead, you know, and I had to think ahead 20 years, 25 years ahead and say, you know something, you know, when I get to 50 years old, what type of lifestyle do I want? Do I still want to be on that hamster wheel, working for somebody, trading time for money? You know, do I want to be living paycheck to paycheck? Right? Do I want to be, you know, do I want to have, you know, more expenses than the income I'm bringing in? You know, what lifestyle or what type of financial shape do I want to be in when I get to 50 years old? Because see, that was the magical number for me. I know for a lot of you folks on here that are much younger than that, you're saying, you know, I'm 20 and I want to be done when I'm 25, or I want to be done when I'm 30. Hey, man, nothing wrong with that. If that's your plan, then go for it. You can create financial freedom at any point in your life, right? You don't have to wait 20 years. But I will tell you, you better have a button down plan in order to get it done, because it's going to take some money, right? See, we don't get financial freedom, guys, unless we do what? We got to earn. We got to earn this money. And then we got to take that money and do what with it? We got to keep it. We got to learn how to keep it. See, right now, a lot of us, we make money, but we don't know how to keep it. We got to learn how to keep money. And then the third thing you got to do with money is do what? You got to learn how to multiply it. And see, I became very good at making money. I became very good at keeping it. And I became even better at multiplying it. And that's what I talk about a lot on this YouTube channel, man, is how to multiply money. whether it be real estate, whether it be the stock market, whether it be creating a business that you can scale, whether it be creating side hustles, all of those things I've done, guys. Right now, I currently am scaling a business that I started in 2020. Matter of fact, I started it January 1, 2020. And that business is what I've been scaling over the last 2.5 years. And I've been doing great with it. Why? Because I already had a vision. I already had a plan. I knew where I wanted to take this business, and I knew how to take it there. And that's what I tell people when they're getting ready to start businesses. You better have a problem. One, you better have identified a problem that needs solving. That's the biggest thing. See, for me, I identified that problem because I knew there were over 100 million people in our country who don't have any money saved for retirement. See, guys, that's a problem. That's 1/3 of our population here in the United States, our adult population. 100 million people, no retirement savings. So I knew there was a problem out there with financial literacy because the only reason people don't have retirement savings is either they don't know how to save and invest, one, and if they do know how to save and invest, then they got wrong behaviors with money. They just got their behavior with money is wrong because they know intellectually what they should be doing with their money. But see, that's not the hard part. The hard part is not knowing what to do with the money. The hard part is actually doing that with the money to create wealth. That's the hard part. That's what people struggle with. So when I started my business, I knew there was a problem out there that I could solve or I could help solve, right? I can't solve everybody's problem, but I knew if I could give information that I had gathered and learned through my experiences with money and making money, keeping money, multiplying money, if I could share those experiences with folks, then there may be some folks out there that I could help. So I knew there was a problem, right? And I knew I had a solution to solve that problem. That's what you got to figure out if you're going to start a business. You got to find a problem people have, and then you got to come up with a solution to solve that problem for those people, right? That's the thing you got to do when you're starting a business. So for me at 26, I'm thinking, okay, I don't got a lot of money. I don't have any, background with money because I didn't come out of a background where we were taught how to manage money or multiply money. We were taught to work hard, right, and take care of your family and save what you can. Save what you can. That's what we were taught in my generation. But we were not taught about multiplying money. We were not taught about financial freedom. What we were taught is, hey, you get on this job, you work it till you can't work it no more, and you hope at the end of that you got Social Security and you got a little pension to fall back on in order to live out the rest of your golden years. That's what we were taught in my generation. Now, this new generation, there's no excuse, right? Because we got the internet in this new generation. You got access to any information you want through the internet. You can learn anything as long as you take the time, sit down and learn it. And then go out and do what? Apply it. Take action. That's what you got to do. So going from zero, right? And I call zero poor. And I don't use poor as a derogatory term. I use poor as I don't got no money. I mean, if you ain't got no money, then you're poor, right? I mean, I don't know how else to color it. And that ain't got no black or white or brown or purple or green. No matter what color you are, if you ain't got no money to take care of yourself, to pay your bills, to put food on your table, to shelter yourself, to put gas in your car, then you're poor, right? So going from poor to everything you want financially out of life, how do you do that? Well, how do you do that? And I mentioned it a little earlier. You got to have a plan, guys. See, I talk to a lot of people who don't, they don't have a plan. They don't have a plan in order to get to financial freedom. So that's what I kind of help them with. I kind of help them put together that plan. I kind of say, well, here you are today. Here's where you say you want to be tomorrow. Here's some things we can do right here in order to get you there, get you from A to get you to B. Are you willing to do that? And if they are, then I turn them loose and let them go to work. So you can definitely do it, but you got to have what? You got to have an end goal. You got to know what you're trying to get done. You got to have some financial goals, right? And then once you got those financial goals and you're specific with those goals, then you back into a plan. Okay, I know at 45 years old, I want to have a $500,000 net worth. And right now I'm 30 years old. So these next 15 years, what do I need to do financially to take myself from where I'm at 30 to when I get to 45, I got a $500,000 in net worth? What do I need to do? Well, the first thing you need to do is do what? Income, right? You got to make some money. Money is not going to just magically appear. I tell people, what was the first thing I do? Money, income, earn. So if you're working a job that you're not making the type of money you want to make, you got two choices. You can find another job that will pay you the kind of money you want to make, or you keep that same job you got and get you some side hustles. But the key is income. So once you get your income going, then you got to tackle what? Your expenses, right? Because I can't live on more than what I make. I got to live on less than what I make, right? So once I get my income going, then from there, I got to watch my expenses. I can't be spending money to make somebody else wealthy, right? I got to take my $1,000 a month that I'm making or my $2,000 a month that I'm making, and I got to live on less than that. I tell people point blank, whatever you're making, you need to live on 50% of that. So if I'm making $2,000 a month, I got to figure out a way to live on $1,000 a month. And then I'm going to take $1,000 and I'm going to invest it in my future. I'm going to invest it in assets that grow on their own and build wealth, right? So if I'm making $5,000 a month, I got to figure out a way to live on $2,500 a month. So I can take that other 50% and invest. Because if you want to go from poor to everything you want financially, you're going to have to give up something in the short term. You're going to have to give up something in the short term, guys, right? In order to get everything you want financially long term. You're going to give up something. See, one of the things people have a hard time with is that giving up something. Because we're in a society here in the United States where we want everything instant gratification. We want everything right now. We don't want to wait. We want it right now. We want our cake and eat it too. Unfortunately, for 99% of us, when it comes to building wealth, we're going to need to give up something in the short term. We're going to have to give up some of these pleasures. We're going to have to give up some of these wants, right? We're going to give that stuff up temporarily in order to have money to invest in our financial future so we can have everything financially we want later, right? That's what we got to do. We got to make that money. Then what? Number 2 step, we got to watch our expenses, right? We got to watch our expenses, live on 50% of what our income is. We got to live on 50% of what our income is. So step 1 is earn. Step 2 is manage my expenses, manage my personal budget. So I'm living on 50% of what I make. Step 3 is what? I got to keep myself out of consumer debt. I got to keep myself out of credit card debt. I got to keep myself out of bad car loan debt. I got to keep myself out of personal loan debt. I got to keep myself out of student loan debt. Any consumer debt, student loan debt I wouldn't consider consumer debt. That's higher education debt. And hopefully if you took out higher education debt, you got a good paying job. But some folk got student loan debt and don't even got no degree. I don't understand that. How you have student loan debt and you ain't got no degree. So you gotta stay out of consumer debt. You gotta stay out of bad debt. That's number 3. And then the 4th thing you gotta do to multiply that money is you gotta invest it. And you gotta invest it in assets that build wealth, guys. And I know 2 of them, real estate and the stock market. Those 2 I'm very familiar with because I built all of my wealth through those 2 asset classes. And now, on the 3rd leg of building wealth, I'm using a business to continue building the wealth. So I've used all 3 of the big 3, right? And I would tell you, that's the simple plan, guys, to go from poor to everything you want financially. Is that what I just gave you? Those 4 steps. Earn, live on less than what you make, stay out of bad debt, save and invest. Boom, that's it, right? You do that, you're going to be fine, right? So having said that, let me answer some questions because I know you guys, I'm 15 minutes in. Let me run and grab these questions. I know I had a super chat, so let me jump on that one. And that comes from, I can't pronounce it. It's ZOATENGTV. And I appreciate the super chat. Thank you very much. Mr. Fain, what's your thoughts on dividend investing with a DRIP? Or would a S&P 500 index fund be better for 10 to 15 years? What's your thoughts? You know something? I think you can do both. Why not do both? Right? Why not do both? My thing with, and here's the way I look at it. I mean, I think you can do both, but if I got to pick one, I'm going to go with the S&P 500. I'm going to go with DCA every single month into the S&P 500 for the next 10 to 15 years. If I got to pick one of the two, that's the one I go with. My thing with dividends, and I've talked to people about this. See, unless you have a considerable amount of money already invested, then you're not going to earn enough in dividends to make a difference. That's just the way it is, right? You're just not. Unless you got a pretty good sized portfolio already, where you're throwing off, $2,000-$3,000 per month in dividend income. I don't know. Yes, should you be reinvesting that dividend income? Yes, I agree with that. But I just think the return, if you got a small portfolio, if you got a small investment portfolio, you're not going to earn enough in dividend income to, you know what I'm saying? So you can do both, certainly do both. But if you're asking me which one I would pick, if I were starting from zero, starting from poor and trying to build my wealth, then I'm gonna go with the S&P 500 100 out of 100 times. Why? Because you got the top 500 companies in America in there, man. You got the fast growing companies like Tesla in there. And then you got the big old gigantic behemoths like Microsoft in there. You just got 500 of the meanest, best, baddest, most profitable companies in America in that S&P 500, man. And listen, man, just look over the last 90 years. S&P 500 over the last 90 years is going to give you a 7 to 10% return on your money, man, over a 90-year period. I don't know. I just think that's so powerful with that compounding that happens. I just think that's powerful. So I'd go with the S&P, but again, if you want to do both, do both. I don't think either are wrong as long as you are in the right investments. Then I think you can do both. But I like the S&P index fund or an ETF any day of the week, at least for me. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, and that's a good point. If you guys got questions, which we got over 400 people in the chat right now, and that's going to probably escalate to about 800 people, guys. So a lot of questions are coming. So if you want your questions answered and you want to get to the top of the queue, then please use the super chat feature. That way you won't get missed. Outside of using super chat, you're at your own risk. I may or may not get to your question. So super chat, you will definitely get your question answered, and that gets you to the top of the queue. So let's keep moving on answering these questions. Steven, I appreciate the super chat, man. Thank you so much. Let's see what we got here. Hey, Rich, should I cash in on the home equity and pay off all my debt, or just keep grinding it out? Debt-free, fresh start, but no more house thoughts. Here's my deal, Stevenson. I'm sorry, Stevenson. Here's what I'm thinking. What's your behavior with money right now? So what got you into the debt? See, if you ain't fixed what got you into that debt, I don't care how many times you refinance your house and pay off that debt, you're going to get right back in debt some point in the future. So you got to change that behavior that got you in debt in the first place. Now, if you're telling me Richard, I've changed my ways. I'm not going to be buying stuff to make other people wealthy. I'm going to be earning. I'm going to live on less than what I make. I'm going to stay out of bad debt. I'm going to save and invest, but I just need a fresh start. I need to tap into some of this equity to get that behind me. And then I'm headed on that straight and narrow path. I'm not going back to get myself in trouble with debt. Then I would say definitely go ahead and do it, because if you know anything about me, I'm a big believer in you use all of your financial tools to build wealth. And guess what a house is that got equity in it? It's a financial tool. It's just a house, guys, right? It's just a house. It's a financial tool that you can use to build more wealth. Why not tap into it? But I do not recommend tapping into any equity if your bad behaviors with money that got you in the debt, get you in trouble with debt in the first place, you haven't rectified that. If you haven't changed those habits, don't tap into your equity, man, because what's going to happen is you're going to tap into the equity, pay off the debt, but you're going to get right back in debt because you ain't changed your behaviors with money. So hopefully that answered your question. Let's keep moving on here. Let's see. All right, let's see. Let's see. I found another idea how to find extra money to invest. You use your credit card for all expenses and invest in the S&P 500. Well, I call that credit card arbitrage. But again, guys, you got to know what you're doing. You can't be fooling around with these high interest rate credit cards and trying to, dip off in the stock market and try to hit a quick lick and come back and you don't know what you're doing. So please be careful. If you're going to use credit card arbitrage, which I certainly have used over my last 20 years, I've used my credit card limits in order to put those limits in my checking account and get interest free on those credit limits from my credit card companies. And then I would take that money for 15 to 18 months and be able to use it to multiply money, right? Using other people's money, which is the credit card company, to multiply it to create money. So I've used credit card arbitrage a lot, but you got to be careful, right? If you're going to use credit card arbitrage, you better have a plan in place, a financial plan in place to take those credit card limits and use them to actually make money. And then boom, pay back the credit card. And now you've created more money with the credit card company's money. So credit card arbitrage is a good way to do that, but you got to know what you're doing, guys. So please be careful if that's something that you think you want to do. If you want to go to my playlist, I have a credit card arbitrage playlist on the YouTube channel. Go find that credit card arbitrage playlist, and I think I got about 9 to 10 videos in there. Go watch that playlist, and you'll see in those videos where I talk about the many different ways I've used OPM, the credit card company's money, to make money for free. So definitely dive into those that playlist, that credit card arbitrage playlist. Let's see what we got here. Let's see here. Okay. If you buy stock or a fractional share of a company, do I have to put money in every day, month, or every 2 weeks, or just make one-time purchase? Well, that comes from Larry Wells. Well, Larry, here's the deal. What's your goal, right? What is your goal with investing in the stock market? What are you trying to accomplish? That's the question you got to answer. That's going to determine what you do and how often you invest. What are you trying to accomplish? If you're just simply saying, you know something, hey, I want to do this as a hobby. I want to pick me 2 or 3 companies and, throw $10 or $15 at it every couple of weeks when I get paid, just to have something to do online to keep me busy and blah, 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 then yeah, you do exactly what you're doing. But if you're serious about building wealth, there's no way you can make one investment in one little company and stop and think wealth is going to magically appear. Not going to happen that way. You got to have a plan. You got to have a DCA plan, a dollar cost average plan in place where you're going to be putting a certain amount of money every single month into selected blue chip ETFs, individual stocks or crypto. And you got to do that, man, religiously, depending upon what your end game is. Will determine how long you got to do it and how much money you got to put in. So you got to have end game before you know what to get started doing. If you ain't got no end game, you just blindly investing. You have no plan, no end game. You got to have an end game, guys, right? You got to say, hey, when I'm at this age, I want this much in net worth, and I want that net worth to generate X amount of dollars a month for me, passive income. That's the end game. And then you put the plan in place to get there. And that's what I help people do in my company, RF Financial Consulting, guys. I help them sit down. We spend a solid hour and we talk about where they're at today, where they want to end up tomorrow, and then we put a plan in place that they can execute. That's the key, though. I don't execute it for them. I'm not going to be calling you up saying, hey, John, did you make that? Did you make that? No, I'm not doing that. What I do is I help you put the plan in place. It's your responsibility to execute it. Why? Because it's your responsibility to get to your own financial freedom. My job is to do what? Provide information, provide structure, help you put a plan together, but you got to execute it. All right, I got some super chats, so let me back up here, hit these super chats. Victor Block, $10 super chat. Thank you, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much. I love your channel. Just turned 60. I made too many mistakes, but finally became financially secure less than 2 years ago. Thank you for helping so many people. YouTube viewers, please listen. Hey, Victor, man, I appreciate you. See, for folks like you and all the other good folks in the chat, that's why I do what I do. You know, I could easily just go do something else, right? I could easily just become a full-time real estate investor, right? Or I could easily become a full-time guy that's playing around in the stock market to make money. I could easily do that. Or I could easily just sit behind a screen and just do affiliate marketing all day and don't talk to nobody. I could do all of those things to make money, but I choose to do YouTube because of the impact information, right? Information has such a huge impact on people's lives. And the way I do it is through financial information. And I just basically talk about my experiences. And I tell you guys about new experiences. I tell you about what my opinion is on certain state of the market or state of the economy. I'm no expert. I'm just giving you guys my opinion. But what I am an expert on is my opinion, right? Ultimately, you got to bundle all that information up and keep what you need to keep and throw out what don't make sense to you, and then formulate you a plan and get to your financial freedom. So thank you, Victor. I'm glad you're at financial freedom, man. Enjoy it. You deserve it. You worked hard for it, and be blessed. Let me move on. We got another super chat, and that's from Francine White. Thank you, Francine, for the super chat, but I don't see a question. So I appreciate the super chat, but if you got a question, certainly put it out. But I appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much. Let me make sure I didn't miss any other super chats, and then we're gonna get some more questions. Nope, I think that's it. So let's get some more questions here, guys. I think we're gonna be in the chat for about an hour. So right now we're up to over 500 people in the chat. So that'll probably grow, like I said, to about 800. So if you guys have questions, please use the super chat feature so that you get to the top of the queue. We got another super chat that's coming in from John. Let's see here. What do you look for when investing into small businesses? For instance, if someone is asking for 100 in debt, how would you go about it? Great question, John. Great question. Okay. So if I'm looking to invest in a privately held business, right? And all privately held means is the owner of that business typically owns 100% of the company. It's not a public company where people can just go to the stock market and buy it. It's not public. It's a private company. So you got to go to the owner, and that owner has to give you, right, has to give you ownership. Now, a couple ways John could put his $100,000 in, depending upon how the owner wants to structure it. One way is the owner can say, okay, John, you put 100K in our business. We're going to give you 20% of the business. So now you become a silent partner or owner. You don't make any decisions, but you own 20% of the company. So when we get distributions from profits, you get distributions from profits. So when we sell the company for a big dollar amount, you get 20% of that big dollar amount. We get 80. So that's one way you can invest in a company. You can also get, like I said, you can get distributions, right? Dividends or distributions commensurate to your ownership. The other way is just giving them debt. You can come to that owner and say, hey, Mr. Owner, I got 100K. I know you're looking for a 100K loan to invest in your inventory or buy a fleet of trucks or whatever the owner needs to do with that money in order to help him continue growing his company. You say, well, okay, I'm going to lend you this money. Here's a promissory note. You're going to pay me 10% interest for the next 36 months. I'm going to get principal and interest paid back to me over a 36-month period for this $100,000. And in that promissory note, it'll have all the terms and conditions. Boom, you lend them the money, they sign off on everything, and then they start paying you whatever that monthly payment is, whatever y'all agreed to. They will start paying you that $100K back over the next 3 years. That's another way you can create a passive income stream, guys, is you can take your money and you can go find businesses in your local area that need capital in order to continue growing their business. And you can lend them your capital in return for an interest rate, principal and interest payments over a period of time. So hopefully that answers your question, John. But those are the two ways, in my opinion, you can invest or lend money to a privately held business. And the key for you is since you're the really taking all the risks because you're giving the 100K, you just better know what type of company it is. You want to look at some financials on that company, right? I would look at 2 or 3 years of tax returns on the business. I'd also look at 2 or 3 years worth of profit and loss statements. I'd look at the balance sheet. I'd look at who their customers are and how they make their money. I would look at the terms on payment. Some customers may pay them, within 30 days. Some may pay within 60 days. I want to see how they've been collecting their accounts receivable if they're that type of business. So it just depends on your comfort level with that business because, hey, the business is how you get paid back. So you better be clear that that business is a good business and a profitable business, or you may be throwing your 100 grand away. So be careful there. All right, let's go on to Keith Wright. Super chat. Thank you, Keith. I appreciate it. Thanks for your 50-30-20 rule. It was a game changer. Keith, I appreciate you, man. Thank you very much. That 50-30-20 rule is a good rule, right? That's just one rule, one financial rule people follow, but I like that one, especially for beginners. That's a good one to kind of, gauge. And guys, if you go out to the YouTube channel and just search, you'll find the video or two that I've done on the 50-30-20 rule. So financial rule. So thank you, Keith. I appreciate you. All right, let's see what we got here. We got a Francine White super chat. But again, Francine, your message has been redacted. So I'm not sure what's going on, but I appreciate the super chat. So let's keep moving, guys. Let's see. I am 46 years old. I have a net worth of nearly $3 million. Well, congratulations. I have zero debt. The question is, how do I figure out when it's time to walk away from my 9-to-5? Well, it depends on your lifestyle, right? So you got a net worth of $3 million, right? Now, how is that net worth made up? Is it made up of all cash? Is it made up of cash and securities when I'm, marketable securities like stock market stuff? Is it made up of real estate? Is it made up, is it all in a business? It depends. And then the next thing you got to think about is okay, I got this $3 million net worth. What type of passive income can it generate? Now, the rule of thumb here's the rule of thumb. You take a 6% conservative rate of return on $3 million, that produces $180,000 a year in passive income, right? Is that enough? Is that $180,000 a year in passive income enough to live the lifestyle you want to live at this point in your life? If it is, then I say, if you're done with the 9-to-5, hand in the 2-week and get on out of there, right? If you're currently living at a $250,000 a year lifestyle and you got $3 million and you're only going to make 180, you may want to either downsize that lifestyle so that it matches the 180, which you can, right? And then you're good to go. So $3 million is a lot of money, man. But again, I don't know how that net worth is broken down. But nevertheless, if it's a $3 million net worth, I would still take a 6% rate of return on it. That's $180,000 a year in passive income, gross passive income before taxes or anything. And all I would say to myself is where am I at today lifestyle wise? And will that 180 take care of me and I'd be good to go and live a good lifestyle? And if it is, I give my 2 week and I get up out of there. All right, let's see what we got here. I think I got, hold on. Okay, let me see. Got some super chats here, guys. So let me go through these. Julius Crummer, appreciate the super chat, man. Thank you. If you were able to do all three for a new car, 45K, which would you do? Cash from disposable income, auto loan, or cash from credit card at 0 APY? Question I got to be asking myself is, am I at financial freedom? Right? Have I reached my financial freedom? If I haven't reached my financial freedom, that tells me I'm still in the building stage of wealth. Because if I've reached financial freedom, I'm already in the enjoyment stage of wealth. See, I built my wealth and my investments take care of me. See, that's the enjoyment stage of wealth. But if I'm still working for somebody, getting a check, trading time for money, I don't know, man. Do you want to drop 45K on a depreciating asset that's going to make somebody else wealthy while you're still in the building stage of wealth? I would think not. I would probably go find me a little A to B car, dependable, for less than 45, maybe 15 grand. Maybe I go find me an A to B car for 15 grand. And I get A to B just like I would in that $45,000 car. My point is this, guys. We should not be spending money like that if we're not in the enjoyment stage of wealth. If you're still building wealth, then you should be taking every free nickel you have and investing it in assets that build wealth. The end game goal is what? I need to get to the enjoyment stage of wealth where I have enough assets that generate enough income to take care of my financial lifestyle. Until I get to that point, I do not spend money unnecessarily on wants. No wants. I only spend money on needs. Transportation is a need, but a want is spending $45,000 on transportation. See, that's a want because you can go out and find a 10 or 15 or $7,500, $10,000 transportation and get you to A to B just as fine. So that's my answer to your question, Julius. Nick, appreciate the super chat, man. Thank you so much. Richard, do you think index funds are best for investors in their 20s? And at my job, on top of regular salary at job, I get tips. How do you utilize that? Do you think index funds are best for investors in their 20s? No, I think index funds are best for anybody that's trying to build wealth, depending upon the index fund you get in. An S&P 500 index fund, guys, I'm telling you guys, you don't get no better than that, man. If you're just starting out and you're trying to build wealth, even if it's somebody in their 50s and they say, "Hey, Richard, I'm 50, but I'm not going to start working until I'm 62. And right now, I got a little bit more wealth I want to build." And an S&P 500 index fund is perfect. Why? Because they don't have to be the expert. You got the top 500 companies in America in it, the big boys, blue chip, right? Every company in there is a big boy company. It's a blue chip company. It's a profitable company, right? So I don't have to be the expert. All I do is be consistent, putting my money in that S&P 500, and then over time, it's going to give me a 7, 8, 10% return on my money. I don't know. That's what I would do. But it doesn't have to be you can do it in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, your 80s. Now, the money that you're getting outside of the job, regular salary, again, I go back to, guys, your number one thing to build wealth is income. So I would be taking that extra income I'm getting from the job and doing what? Invest in it. Like I said, guys, if you're not in the enjoyment stage of wealth, you should be taking every spare penny and invest in it to get to the enjoyment stage of wealth. And what is enjoyment stage of wealth? When your assets are high enough that they generate enough income to take care of you financially. Right? That's when you're in the enjoyment stage of wealth, not before then. You working a good job, making 100 grand a year is not the enjoyment stage of wealth. That's just a good lifestyle. But boy, if you take that 100 grand from you, if you take that 100 grand job, you go to zero. And guess what? You got no more income coming in because you're trading time for money. So active income is great, but we need to be taking this active income, guys, and putting it in investments that turn it into passive income. That's the key in a nutshell. Active income, turn it into passive income. How do you do that? You take that active income and you put it in investments that will multiply it, and it'll create passive income. So hopefully that answers your question, Nick. Appreciate the super chat. Let's see here. Couple more super chats. JG, appreciate the super chat. When do you think the best time to buy a home and a Ferrari is? Thanks for everything. Well, guess what? I've owned both, multiple homes, and I've owned a Ferrari 458 for about 3.5 years. So I can speak to that. Let me just tell you the way I did it. I did not buy my Ferrari until I got to the enjoyment stage of wealth. I did not buy my Ferrari till I had enough assets to pay for it. Period. Didn't do it. Now, buying a house is a little bit different. I wasn't in the enjoyment stage of wealth when I bought most of my homes, but I used those homes as a financial tool. See, when I buy homes, guys, I don't get married to these houses, man. Oh, this is my house for the rest of my life. Bury me in it. No, that's not what I do. When I buy a house, I buy for location, and I buy that house because I know it's going to go up in value. So if I do need to tap into something, I got the equity in that house I can tap into in order to multiply it. That's why I buy houses. That's the reason I'm in this house, right? I bought this house in 2012, brand new construction, ground up construction. Paid $395K for it, but it's in a very desirable location. And right now it's worth about $850. So I doubled my money in the last 10 years. That's why I buy real estate. But you got to buy it in the right location, right? In order to really get that net worth gain. So I just over the last 10 years, by just living in this house, I've added $400,000 to my net worth. Come on, man. That's why real estate's so powerful. Buying a Ferrari ain't going to add no net worth. It didn't add none for me. It took net worth. It took money. But you know something? I had gotten to the enjoyment stage of wealth, so my investments were paying for it. So I said, you know something? I'm going to treat myself. Can't take it with me. Can't put it in the coffin with me. Once I get the enjoyment stage of wealth, let me enjoy it. Let me enjoy it till I leave this place. And then my kids get it. So let me keep moving. Hopefully that answered your question, JG. Got another super chat from Salts Media. Tips on getting sweat equity on a startup business that you work for. Tips on getting sweat equity on a startup business that you work for. Well, here's the deal. You need to go to the ownership of that business and say, hey, I'm a valuable part of this team. And then you need to have documentation showing that you're a valuable part of the team. Here's what I've done. Here's how I have moved the needle for this company. Now, I know I didn't put any money in, but I put in a lot of my time and effort. I've done things that owners do. I've made this company more valuable. I believe you guys or gals should consider me for real equity, right? Even though I didn't put any cash in, I want equity because I've been a part of this team and I've helped us get to where we're at today. That's the conversation I would have with whoever owns the business currently. I'd have that conversation. And then if they say no, what I would do, I would go start my own company. I may have to do it on the weekends. I may got to do it at night, but I'd go start my own thing. See, I keep telling you guys, nobody will ever give you or pay you what you're worth. Not voluntarily, they're not. See, that's why people who are employed like I was for 25 years, you got to learn how to move around, man, so that you can make money. Because if you stay loyal to one little company, they're never going to pay you what you're worth. They're going to bring other people in after you and pay them more than they pay you. That's how our system works, man. So what I'm telling you is if they won't give you equity, right? They won't give you real equity, hard equity. for your sweat equity, then you may have to go out and do your own thing at some point, and then you create your own company, and then you got 100% of the equity. That's what I would do. So hopefully that answered your question. We got another super chat from Alfredo Alvarez. Alfredo, you the man. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that super chat. Let me get to your question. I am 46 years old. I have a net worth of nearly $3 million. I have zero debt. The question is, how do I figure out when it? Oh, I think I already answered that question, but I'll answer it quickly again for you since you did do the super chat. But I think I answered that question. But let's run through it one more time. I am 46 years old, have a net worth of $3 million, have zero debt. The question is, how do I figure out when it's time to walk away from the 9 to 5? Healthcare is also a concern if I walk away. Okay, didn't know that in the first question that I read. Again, here's the deal, man. You got to think about the 3 million. You got to say, okay, how much money can this 3 million generate passive income wise? And like I said, I would use 6%. That's sort of the rule of thumb in the passive income game, right? I would use 6%. I take 6%, times it by that 3 million. I believe that's $180,000 a year. That's conservatively what it should generate pre-tax, right? About $180,000 a year. Now you got to say to yourself, is that $180,000 a year enough to take care of me with the health problems? Or I'm not sure if that's you or somebody else, but with the health concern. With the health concern, will this 180 take care of me and take care of my health concerns? That's what you got to ask yourself, right? And then if you say, yeah, then I think you're in good shape. And as long as you invest that 3 million properly, you should be able to take care of yourself for the rest of your life, right? Now, if you say, no, the 180 won't take care of me and my medical concerns, then you gotta make a tough decision. You gotta say, well, I either have to figure out a way to reduce my expenses so that the 180 can take care of me, or I got to plug away at this 9 to 5 for 5 more years so that I can add another million. And then maybe at the 4 million mark at $240,000 a year, I can live comfortable with my medical concerns and, my lifestyle. So that's the thought process that I would go. I'd look at the 3 million and figure out how much passive income can I generate off that $3 million on an annual basis. And like I said, I would use a 6% number, right? 6% rule of thumb. And again, that's pre-tax. So if you want to go, post-tax, then it'll probably be 4%, right? But that's what I would look to try to figure out. Alfredo, hopefully that answered your question, but $3 million is a lot of money, man. I think you can get about $180,000 a year conservatively on it. If that's enough to take care of you, then walk away. If it's not enough to take care of you, then you got to make the decision. Do I reduce my expenses? Do I reduce my lifestyle so that the 180 can take care of me? Or do I work another 5 years in an effort to invest more to get this from 3 million to 4 million? Now I got 240,000 coming in. That's enough. So that's the thought process that I would go through if I were in your position. All right, let's see. What else we got here? It's always interesting. And I'm sorry, guys. I see some knuckleheads in here in the chat. It's always interesting how people would prefer to take all of their energy and put it into something negative than to take all of that energy and put it into something positive. Isn't that amazing how we are sometimes as people? Now, all of this energy, whoever this bozo in the chat is trying to, all of that energy, he'd rather come into my live chat and be a knucklehead and say stupid stuff like, dude, come on, man. Put that energy into something positive, brother. If you have knowledge to help people, create your own YouTube channel and help people. Don't come in my chat trying to be a clown. Come on, man. You know I ain't gonna do nothing but just excommunicate you, just like I just did. All right, let's keep moving. See what else we got. We got about, I got about 10, 15 minutes, guys. So let's see what we got here. Nathan Woods, you got it, man. You know me. I don't even. That's nuts, man. You know, I just feel bad for people who spend the majority of their life being negative when you could be positive and have such a great life. But people, I don't know. All right, let's go. We got another super chat. Let's see what we got here. Super chat from John. Again, following up on that question, he says, I'm looking for 100K in debt, 4-year payback. Oh, you're looking for it. Okay. Looking for 100K in debt, 4-year payback, 12% interest, pay 10 to 20% the first year and no prepaid penalties. I only have 1-year tax returns, but made the business 1.4 cents. What would this interest you? Now, here's a situation for me, guys. So I'm not actually doing these types of investments at the moment. See, because what I do is I look at where I can deploy my capital and I look at where my income sources come from, and I make decisions on where I'm going to invest based on that. Now, what I will tell you though, John, in the area you live in, I'm not sure where that is, there are private lenders out there that do these types of loans that you're talking about. So you got to understand there are people out there who have a lot of money and they would love to get a 12% return on 100, because for them it's just going to be sitting at the bank somewhere earning nothing. But you got to do a little homework. You got to jump online and you got to find these people. But there are people in your area where you live, I promise you, that do these types of loans and they love to get a 12% return on their money, especially in an economy like we're in now and in a stock market like we're in now where no one's getting any positive returns, right? So certainly I'm not the guy at the moment for that particular type of investment, but there are plenty of other investors out there that would love to lend you 100K, especially if you've done what you've done in your business in a short period of time and you just need more of a bridge loan, really. There are people in your community that will do that. Now, one thing you can do is look up business networking events. In most areas, in the area I live in, there are always business owners and business investors that meet up occasionally, maybe once a month, once a quarter, and they have these networking events. And the reason they do that is because they can bring business owners or entrepreneurs together with investors, sort of like a little small Shark Tank, but without all the, the hoopla. It's just a local level though. But that's in your area too, I guarantee it. So do a little research online, look for business networking meetings, or just simply Google private lenders who make business loans. Whole host of them will come up, right? The most important thing for you to protect yourself as that business owner is you just got to make sure that promissory note that really outlines the terms and conditions of the loan are what you want them to be. So you want to go through that promissory note to make sure you're protected. Because of course, any lender, any private lender, anytime a lender lends you money, the promissory note normally is going to be skewed to protect them because they're lending you the money, right? But you can still go through that promissory note and make sure there are no prepayment penalties, like you mentioned in your question here. Absolutely. You can say, okay, listen here, 100K from you, I'll give you the 12%. Here are all my repayment terms. I also do not want any prepayment penalties so that I can pay you this money faster. And here's the deal. Most lenders, they want to make interest, but most importantly, they want to get their principal back. So no one's going to turn you down for wanting to pay their principal back sooner. So hopefully that answers your question, John. Let's see what else we got here. All right, let's see here. What would you do if you are 45 with 100K saved with 401K and Roth savings habits to get you to 500 in 5 to 10 years? what would you do if you are 45 and have 100 saved with 401k and Roth together, and would accelerate your saving habits to get you to 500? And well, here's the deal. So you just would go get you a future value of money calculator, right? You can do it right online. You can go get one online. It kind of looks like this. I don't know if you guys can see that. But yeah, and then you would just go in and you'd put in, the terms that you just talked about. Let's say you did 10-year term, and let's say in your 401k and in your Roth, you were getting a 6% rate of return, annual return of about 6%. So how much would you need to put in there over the next 10 years to get it to 500? So then you would start saying, well, okay, let me put in $36,000 a year, and let's see what that'll get me. Right. So what you need to be doing is probably in that $38,000 a year, right? Yeah. Yeah. You need to be contributing between the Roth and the 401k and potentially a taxable brokerage account. You need to be putting in about $38,000 a year at a 6% rate of return over the next 10 years would get you to about $502,000. So you could get to your 500. Now I know you already got 100 in there. My point is the amount of money you need to be putting in my opinion, is in that $35,000 to $38,000 a year range in order to make that happen, based on a 6% rate of return. Now, don't get me wrong. Over the next 10 years, the rate of return could be 8%, 10%, and you get there quicker. But to be conservative, if you use about a 6% rate of return in the stock market between your Roth and between your 401k, you probably need to open a taxable brokerage account as well, because I know we got some limits on what you can put in the 401k. We certainly got limits on what you can put in the Roth. So you're not going to put, there are limits to it. So my point is, you probably need to have a taxable brokerage account as well. And between those three, if you can get 38 grand per year in there, somewhere in that ballpark at a 6% rate of return for the next 10 years, you'll be at the $500,000 pretty easily. That's my opinion, guys. That's not financial advice. That's my opinion based on me doing the numbers here on my financial calculator. Let me see here. I got some super chats that I need to get to, guys. We got one from Kenneth Lopez. Thank you for the super chat, Kenneth. Should I do an addition to my home for $25,000 that will increase the value by 100, or sell it as is? Again, what's your financial plan? What's your goal with the house? What are you trying to get accomplished with the house? That's the key, man. What are you trying to get accomplished? And then, if you sell it, what do you do with the cash? How do you continue multiplying the cash? Where are you going to put that cash? In another house? You know what I'm saying? If the plan is stay in this house, continue to build equity, continue to invest in other assets as well, and I can put 25 into the house and create $100,000 worth of value, then I think that's a no-brainer. You do the $25,000 improvement or addition, and you give the house an additional $100,000 in value, and then it becomes, you just took your net worth up 75 grand just by doing that, right? So it depends on what your financial goals are and your plan is, man. I tell people, I can't fault someone who says, something, I bought a house 3 years ago in 2019 for, 300. And now with what's going on in the market in 2022, that house is worth 700. Should I take the cash? Listen, man, $400,000 in equity is a lot of equity. That's a game changer in a lot of people's lives. We don't know how long that will last. I can't get mad at someone that goes and grabs the cash. I can't, because that's a lot of money. And we don't know what real estate's going to do in the next 12 months or 18 months. We don't know. We think it'll stay there, but we don't know. So, that's a lot of cash. So you got some thinking to do. But I would not take the money. I would not sell the house unless I have a really good plan to utilize those proceeds to continue building wealth. If I don't have a good plan, then I make the addition, get the $100,000 bump in value, and stay there until I got a game plan to use that money to continue multiplying it. So hopefully that answers your question, Kenneth. Let's see what we got here. We got another super chat. Dead or Fed Entertainment. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. I make $150 yearly in my career. How should I invest? Back to what's your financial plan? What's your game plan? What's your end game? What are you trying to get accomplished financially? What are your goals? What are your goals? What am I trying to get done? You know, what age are you? What, you know, am I 35 years old and I want to be financially free at 50? So I got 15 years to grind to get my net worth to $2 million so I can make $120,000 a year in passive income. That'll take care of me and live the rest of my life and do the things that I want to do without any worrying about money. If that's the plan, then it's pretty easy. You take that 150, like I said, you live on 75, you take 75 and you invest it, right? You invest it, right? You invest it for the next 15 years. Here's the deal. You do that for 15 years at a 6% rate of return, $75,000 a year, right? In 15 years, here's where you'll be looking at. $1.8 million. I don't know, almost 2 million, right? So my point is you got to have an end game. You got to have an end game. You got to know specifically what you're trying to get accomplished. My end game is $2 million, Richard. I need $2 million in 15 years because I know if I can get to $2 million, I got a good chance of creating $120,000 a year in passive income on that $2 million. How do I get there? I'm making $150 a year. Guess what? Live on 50% of it, invest 50% of it for 15 years, and you get there. Period. Period. That's it, man. That's how you get there. But you got to know what the goal is. It can't just be, I make this money. I need to know exactly what financial freedom is for me. For you, if it's $2 million, that is financial freedom. Then like I said, man, pretty simple. Live on 50% of that 150. Invest 75 for 15 years in an investment that'll pay you at least a 6% annualized return over those 15 years. You got $2 million, man. There you go. Let's see what else we got here, guys. I think I got another super chat. I do. Gene Thornton. I need help. Finally caught you live. I just started investing about 1.5 years ago. Kind of late for my age. I am so lost, but I do DCA on some. S&P, a few blue chips, and tech. Need dividend company, $4,000. Okay. Same thing. I just had the conversation with Dead or Fed Entertainment. Same thing. Got to have an end game. Gene, you got to have an end game. You got to know specifically what my end game is. You know, am I trying to create $5,000 a month in passive income? How do I do that? How do I create $5,000 in passive income? That's what I need to live. And this is just an example, Gene. It could be more, it could be less, but I'm using this as a hypothetical. Let's say you need $5,000 passive income. What you would do is you do the rule of 200. The rule of 200 simply states, I take the $5,000 and I multiply it by 200. That's $1 million. You take the $1 million at a 6% rate of return that generates $60,000 a year in passive income. Divided by 12, that's $5,000 a month. Now, $1 million is a lot of money. You might say, Richard, there ain't no way I'm gonna get to the million. You don't have to get to the million, but at least you got an idea of what net worth it would be to create $5,000 just from investments. Here's the deal though. Maybe you got a pension. Maybe you'll get Social Security. So you can add those things. Let's say you're gonna get a couple grand from Social Security. Let's say you're going to get another $1,000 from your pension. So now you got 3,000 of the 5 already. So now what would you do? You would say, okay, rule of 200. I would take the 200 times the 2,000. That's $400,000 times 6% rate of return. That's $24,000 a year divided by 12. That's $2,000 a month. So now instead of me having to go $1 million to get my 5,000, I know I got $2,000 coming from Social Security. I know I got $1,000 coming from my pension. What I need to create over the next number of years is I need to get my net worth to $400,000 so I can create another $24,000 a year in order to get me to my $5,000 a month. And that's the game plan you got to have, Gene. You got to think like that. You got to say, well, here's what I need to live when I get to whatever age I want to be financially free. I don't know what your current age is, but you say you're a little late for your age. Let's say 65, or let's say 67 is that's my financial freedom age. I want to be done. Social Security, hopefully a pension, and then boom, you got to have some net worth to create the last $2,000 you're going to need to go with the $3,000. Hopefully that made sense. Let's move on. What do we got? Ooh. All right, guys. Looks like we got a lot of stuff going on, so we may stay in this chat a little longer. I was just getting ready to, but we're gonna hang in there for a little bit. Gene Thornton again. Need dividend companies for my grandkids, not for. Gene, here's the deal. I'm not sure why we're so fascinated with dividend companies. As I mentioned earlier, guys, you got to have a lot of net worth for dividends to make sense. You know, and dividends are, in most cases, dividends are, especially from the stock market, from individual companies or like ETFs, they go by shares, right? So if I got 100 shares of Apple and Apple is paying a 21 cent per quarter dividend, then each one of my 100 shares, I get what? 21 cents, right? So if I do the math on that, right? If I got 100 shares of Apple, I got 100 shares of Apple, and they're paying me a 21 cent dividend per share per quarter, right? So I times that by 21 cents, right? It's about $21. That's all I'm going to make in my dividend on those 100 shares of Apple. So that's why I keep telling you guys, in order to, for this thing to really make sense, you really got to have. I mean, you just got to have more shares. You got to have quite a bit of money in order for it to make sense. You just do. So I don't know. From a dividend standpoint, all you got to do is go find dividend companies like AT&T who pay a good dividend. Most of your blue chip companies, the value companies, the big mature companies, most of those guys pay dividends. You just got to do a little research to figure out, which companies pay the best dividend and which companies you feel like you want to invest your money in to get that dividend. But again, there are other investments you could probably put money in for the grandkids that may long term, let's say if they're young kids, over the next 10 or 15 years, maybe you can start something like a 529 plan. And again, guys, I'm no expert in this, and I'm not trying to give Gene financial advice, but I'm just saying maybe look at a 529 plan that you can put money in for them for college. That might be a good way to save for them for their future. So hopefully that helped. Hopefully that helped. So let's move on to Jay Less. 29 years old, 9 years on the job. Most of retirement is in stocks and bonds. Should I borrow at a low cost to myself for a lump sum to dollar cost average now while prices are low? Oh, I see what you're saying. Borrow against what you already got in your stocks and bonds. That's aggressive. I mean, again, back to what I said, use all your financial tools to multiply your wealth, man, to get where you want to be. I'm okay with that. But you got to understand the risks involved in doing that, right? You got to understand it's a loan. If I take a loan and I got to pay it back at 9% and I put it in something, it doesn't give me the return I'm looking for. Now I got this loan out here against my 401k and my bond portfolio. So just be prepared. Just do your homework. And if you feel like it's a risk you're willing to take, I ain't mad at you, because I would do it. If it, I've I've done things with retirement accounts and things like that in the past to multiply when I didn't have ready cash in my checking account or my savings account. I'm a firm believer in using all your financial tools to build wealth. You just got to know what the risks are associated with it and be prepared for those risks if it doesn't go your way. Not saying that it won't go your way, but if it doesn't, just be prepared. But certainly, I'm okay with utilizing all of my financial tools to continue to build my wealth. I certainly wouldn't take money out of any asset and put it in something that was not going to create income, right? I wouldn't do that. But if I'm going to take money and put it in something that I believe will make more money for me, then I'm okay with that. As long as I'm prepared and I know the risks that are involved with it. So let's see what we got else. What do we have here, guys? I think I got another super chat from, I think it's from Gene. Again, thanks, Gene. I appreciate it. Not 50-year-old, but close. Just give a lot of grands. Just gave a lot of grands. Okay. 3 of my boys gave, okay. I can't really understand that, but let me see if I can get to it. 50 years old, but close. Not 50, but close. Just gave a lot of grands. 3 of my boys started age 7. Okay, blue chip only. Yeah, definitely. I would definitely, you said age 7, 8, and 9. I would be looking for something, like I said, in that 529 plan, which is a really sort of an investment vehicle to save for a child's college education. That would be a great present from grandma, in my opinion. So look into that. And then, yes, once you open that 529 plan, because see, the 529 is just a plan, it's a shell. Then you got to put investments inside of that plan. So maybe go to your local bank that you bank with and maybe talk with a licensed financial advisor about a 529, or maybe even talk to the brokerage company that you use currently, if but get some advice, some professional help with these 529 plans. That might be the answer for these young grandchildren, and I'm sure they'd be extremely grateful and happy that grandma did that for them. So thanks, Gene. I hope that answered your question, and I again appreciate the super chat. Let's see what else we got here. We got another super chat from Sonia Mangum. Thanks, Sonia. I appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much. We got another super chat from Leonard Rodriguez. My sister has a house that she rents to traveling nurses. Can I get into a house with no money down for strictly investment purposes? I have a great credit, but my income is down since the pandemic. Well, here's the deal. You got lenders out there that may or may not do, not your mainstream traditional lenders, but you may have some hard money lenders out there. You may have some private lenders out there that may do a loan for you with no money down. I'm not saying that will happen, but it's a possibility. Do some checking on that. Or you could potentially find a home that's for sale by owner, and then go to that owner and say, hey, I know you got this house for sale. More than happy to take it off your hands, but I'll need you to carry the note for me. I'll need you to be my bank, but I'll make monthly payments to you, and you can use the house as collateral just in case I don't make the payments. You can take the house back. But that's a way to go to someone who already owns the house outright, and maybe they're a landlord and they have landlord fatigue and they're just ready to get out of the house. Now, in the market we're in, that's going to kind of work against you because we're in a hot real estate market with very little inventory. So most people who put investment properties up for sale, since we have low inventory right now, if they price them right, they're going to sell them to somebody that's willing to pay cash or go get a bank loan. And so I don't know, man, but it's worth a try. And also you could go to some places like real estate investing networking events, real estate networking events, and just go to those events and introduce yourself and start talking to people about what you're trying to get accomplished. And there may be people in those meetings that can help, man. Unfortunately, in the hot real estate market we're in, it's just hard for someone to give 100% financing or someone to carry the note for you when They don't have to do that. They can just go find somebody that got cash to pay them. It's just tough. But hopefully that answered your question. And I gave you some, like I say, go online for the area you live in and look for real estate networking events or real estate investing networking events. Also look for private lenders or 100% financing lenders. Just kind of do some search and you'll come across some things that maybe you can tap into to see if you can get where you're trying to get to. All right, let's move on, guys. We got about 5 more minutes and then we're going to finish up the chat. Sonia Mangum. Okay, gotcha. Hi, should we invest more than we save? Again, that depends on what your financial goals are, right? I'm under the belief in my financial structure that I use. I'm of the belief when I'm in the building stage of wealth, I need to be putting the majority of my money into something that's going to multiply it. In my experience, keeping a lot of money in a savings account that I really don't have a use for short term, which I could be investing long term to build wealth, is a mistake because obviously at the bank, they're not going to pay you no interest on it, right? So you're going to really, over time, you'll lose your purchasing power of that money because you're not growing it. Now, having said that, definitely keep your emergency fund in your savings account at all times. You got to have an emergency fund. An emergency fund should be anywhere from 3 months to 12 months of your expenses, depending upon what your comfort level is. For me, I need 12 months of my expenses in emergency fund because that helps me sleep better at night. But outside of that, I always would invest everything else. That's the way I did it because I wanted that money to grow. And I knew it would not grow sitting in my savings account. Yeah, it would look great on my savings account statement. It'll help me sleep at night, but it wouldn't be growing. It wouldn't be multiplying itself. And if I'm in the building stage of wealth, I got to become really good at putting money in investments that multiply it, or I never get to the enjoyment stage of wealth, right? So you got to make that decision, Sonia. I can't make it for you. All I can tell you is look at your financial goals. And if keeping that money in your savings account, most of it, and only investing a little bit gets you to your financial goals, then do that. But you do need to look at your financial goals and to see if your investment strategy matches up with what you're trying to accomplish with your financial goals. If it does, then you're in great shape. If it doesn't, you may need to rethink what you're doing with your money. All right. What we got here, and then looks like we're done. All right, guys, we are about 1 hour and 17 minutes. I appreciate you guys, man. Well, I got one more super chat. Let me get to this super chat, and then I'm gonna sign on out of here. Thanks, Jay. I appreciate the super chat. Should we prioritize paying off debt or keeping a balance between investing and debt repayment? Great question, Jay. Here's what I would ask you guys to consider. Look at your debt and see what the interest rates are on that debt. My belief is if you got debt, consumer debt, I'm not talking about home loan debt. I'm not really even talking about your student loan debt. What I'm really talking about is straight consumer debt, credit card debt, high interest rate car loans, high interest rate personal loans, high interest rate unsecured loans, high interest rate rooms to go credit card, buying furniture loans, that kind of stuff. If you got that kind of stuff and that interest rate is higher than 5%, personally, I would take all of my free cash. I would stack rank that debt from the highest interest rate to the lowest. And then I would take all of my free cash and I would aim it at paying off that debt first. Once I got that debt paid off, then I would redirect those dollars into investing into my financial future. Now, if you got a lot of debt and it's going to take you years and years and years to pay it off, then no, I would pick a number to put towards the debt, and then I would pick a number to put towards financial freedom. Because if you got like 5-6 years worth of debt you need to pay off, I wouldn't wait 5 or 6 years to get into the market. I would just say, okay, I got $30,000 in debt. I got $500 free cash. I'm gonna take $250, put it on the debt, $250, put it in the market to grow. That's what I would do. Now you got to make your own decision, Jay. But if it was me and I can't get that debt paid off within 12 months, it's gonna take me longer, then yeah, I would do a balance between the two. I would pay off the debt, but I would also be buying me some blue chip stuff to multiply my money in the same time. So hopefully that answers your question, Jay. Any other super chats before we get ready to sign out of here, guys? I think I got everybody. I don't think I missed anybody. I don't think I missed anybody. So, okay. Well, here we go, guys. We've reached the 120 mark. So I'm going to get ready to sign off. I certainly appreciate you guys for stopping by the live. We had a lot of fun. I appreciate everybody who did the super chats. That was so generous of you guys. I really appreciate that. Again, that link down in the description box for those 6 free stocks from Webull. If you guys don't have a platform, a mobile app platform to be able to make your investments, certainly consider that Webull brokerage app. I use Webull every day. Now I do have other brokerage accounts. I have a Vanguard brokerage account. I have a Merrill Lynch brokerage account, but it's the Webull app where I do my day-to-day stuff, and I use that Webull app every single day. So if you're interested in that, click on that link down in the description box. Go open up that new Webull account today. Go get that free stock. Go get that free money. If you're stopping by the channel for the first time, please consider subscribing, share the video, smash the like button. Thoughts become things. You can see it in your mind. You can hold it in your hands. You guys keep chasing your greatness. Never stop believing in yourself. And I'm going to catch you on the next video and on the next live. Peace.